I honestly believe that if you wait long enough and look enough, you will eventually find things that you want at op shops. I see it a lot with all of those collectibles from Woolworths and Coles, they end up there. So I have a list of a few things that I'm on the looking for. So I thought, let's start looking and I will document some of my journey. First up is this smoothie glass. It was originally from the reject shop. I'm kicking myself that I never picked it up. For those of you been following me for a while, I am chasing Mrs. Bean's book of household management, and also I am looking for this Good Luck Care Bear. We are short that one for my daughter's collection. And also a few books of certain authors. I just took this picture random to remind myself. There are a couple of other things I have forgotten for now, but I know when I'm in store I get reminded of things. In general, I just wanted to take a little bit of a look around and to see what's in there, so I thought I'd take you along. First up are all these signs that were here. I thought, how good is that, a sign for what cuts of meat are where? Next up are these hole punches, and I could not believe this. This is a perfect example of you'll eventually find something. A couple of years ago, I was doing cash envelopes and doing videos, and I was like, if I could just find a 3-hole puncher, I could make my own envelopes. Could never find one, and now that I'm no longer doing it, I found one. I always have a look at the games just in case there's anything that my son would really like, and the Wii as well. My mum really needs a picture frame, so I was having a look here, but they're all like $20 because they have a really good print inside of them, so I don't think that's a go. I really liked this picture that was on the wall. I am thinking about getting a casserole dish because we don't actually have one, and I keep saying I'm going to make a casserole, and my daughter goes, but you don't actually have a casserole dish, so you can't say you're going to make a casserole. And I'm tempted to get one so I can just cook a casserole in the oven rather than being on the stove. We used to have these plates growing up, so it was cool to see them in an op shop, and an old-fashioned scale. This was so cool. If I was decorating like a vintage type area, that is certainly something that I would like to pick up, at least to have a nice little display in the kitchen or something, but I just don't have the bench space. This patty pan, I actually have one, but I had been looking for one for ages. You make these little jelly cakes with them. Back in the 80s, they were so super popular, and I am going to try and make some on the channel, so stay tuned. And this baking tray, if I found this about 12 months ago, I would have picked it up, but I have enough stuff for now. Tupperware, you can always find it when you need it, especially measuring cups, and they are one of those things that you spot a mile away. And then look at all this Tupperware. Oh my gosh, I have enough. I don't need any more, but it's always good to see. And do you know what else was really, really good to see? I thought the prices were pretty much on point. They were pretty good. I'd be happy to pay most of the prices for some of the pieces that were here today. These little sandwich containers, I know people had those growing up, and all the other bits and pieces are for the freezer that we used to have for leftover little stews and soups and stuff like that. My mum always used to shove everything into the freezer. Another little sandwich container. Do you remember when Tupperware was around, you could only ever buy them in like a pack of 5, so you'd either have to have lots of children or a bigger family, or you'd go halves with someone and purchase it. So they worked out to be about $10 each because you couldn't buy them individually. I saw this on the shelf, Star Wars, like a plushie. I thought about getting it for my son, but it's just going to sit in his room and do nothing. And I did dig through this whole bin looking for that Care Bear, but I didn't find anything. But it's always exciting looking through toys. This bear, oh my gosh, I think I've talked about this before. This used to be at all the craft fairs when I was growing up, and I always wanted one. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Now that I'm older, I'm not as interested, but I see it around in op shops all the time. I would have decluttered it myself should I have had one. So I guess it's one of those things that I don't feel like I missed out on it, but it is a bit of nostalgia when I see it. I always look in the books because I'm looking for that homemaking book, and I happened to see this cookbook sitting on the shelf, and I flicked through it, and then I walked away, and then I came back and I flicked through it again, and then I walked away, and then I came back and I flicked through it again, and ultimately I decided to grab it. As I was going through, I was just like, ooh, I could see myself making that. And yes, I was going up close just to sort of show you the recipe. I don't know how much I'm allowed to show you for copyright or whatever, so I just showed you a couple. But looking through, I'm like, oh, I would eat that. Oh, I would eat that. And I don't find that a lot with a lot of recipe books. So I was like, what to do, and then yank, you're coming home with me. I always look in the novels because I'm always interested in what's here. I thought about this book for my mum from retirement. I don't think she'd be very impressed. The back of it looks really good though. And I do always have a look at the books, but I do need to actually get a proper list of the authors with the couple of books I'm missing. How to Kill Your Husband. I've heard that's a very funny book actually. If you've read that before, let me know. But I always just love looking at the books. I absolutely judge a book by its cover. I am sold by anything cute like this book. I have this book at home. That's also why it caught my eye, because the cover was familiar to me. But anything like food or vintage art and craft or just a nice cover, yeah. I took a couple of photos as well and sent them to the book club that I'm in. It's just an online Facebook group where people just talk a lot about books. There are a couple of meetups. I haven't done any meetups. I will in the future though. But yeah, I took some photos of stuff and just let people know the op shop that I was at, because I know some people are chasing certain books, which was good. And then also there was a shelf with all the Australian authors here. So I took a bit of a video on it and I put it on Instagram and TikTok, and I tagged some of the authors that I saw, and they were all, oh, thank you so much for the shout out. Wow, that's amazing. I was like, oh, you're welcome so much. So that was pretty exciting. And then, oh, look at this, Wicked, one of the playbooks from the stage show. That would be so good if you were going to Wicked, if it was the same actors and things like that. You could get one of the playbooks a little bit cheaper. Look at this book, How to Do Just About Everything. And look at this massive basket of meals and boons. I know someone that sells meals and boons on eBay, and she just can't stock them fast enough. As soon as she gets them in and lists them, they're sold again. Oh my gosh, you got to wonder who's been reading them. And then look at these vintage women's weekly magazines. Oh my gosh. I really enjoyed having a good look through all of these and flicking through, looking at the ads and some of the food things that were in here, the fashion. Oh, so good. I wish to find some older, like, Good Housekeeping magazines, like the vintage ones, because I really like looking at them. And I've seen some at one of the sewing groups that I used to go to, so that's also on my wish list, because I do like a couple of the older vintage things. Look at that, a wisp dessert. Some things no longer around. A vintage dressing table, I really liked that. It was missing a handle, but I thought, ooh. But then the question was, where would I put it? A spinning wheel. I didn't spin it, don't worry. I just looked at it. And then I saw this little tea set that was over here. That was super cute. And into the craft section. I didn't look too much because I didn't want to be too tempted, but I just love op shops. You can find just about anything. I went to a second Salvo's and they had some more games and things, so I had a look in there, and they've got a little vintage area. I love these jugs and bowls. They're so gorgeous. I have one myself, but I love the massive ones. And oh my gosh, I would so love to do like a vintage type video, but I just don't have a whole lot of the stuff. Oh, another way set. That is gorgeous. Oh, and a glow mesh purse, Ali, if you're watching. I know you would have liked that. Who remembers this hip trainer thigh thing from the 80s? Was it Suzanne Summer that was doing all the info commercials about it? It was funny. Another look in the craft area. There wasn't much in there. And another look at all the cookbooks and stuff. There really wasn't much here this time, but I still had a good look through. Philippa Gregory is one of my favorite authors, but I'm pretty sure I have most of her books. I need to make a list. Looking at the mugs here, luckily we still have that Mandalorian mug, or I would have picked it up. Oh, and this said Top Dad, not Top Gun, because my Top Gun mug has broken, so that's on the list to replace. First thing I got was the cookbook. What sold it for me, there's a chocolate cake in here that needs a 1/4 cup of sour cream. Guess what I have in the fridge at home? So I'm going to make that maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but I do want to get onto it. But it just had the most, oh, there it is, look at that, sour cream cake. Oh, that's a sign. It just had the most gorgeous things in there. Oh, I'm terrible. Rich chocolate tart cake. Oh gosh, I'm horrible. I'm terrible, not horrible. And then I picked up this card for $1. I know someone that will appreciate that very much. There was only this one there. There was a couple of different ones, not vintage though. So that was $6 in total, but I had $2.45 on the rewards card because I'm a member of the Salvos. So I said, yeah, I'll take it off. So then technically kind of free. And also I was able to give them coins. I paid with cash. So I thought that was pretty good.